Hello there. One of my favorite games is Crazy 8. I'm sure you already played it. You put a 5 on a 5, you put a suit on a suit. The goal is to get rid of all of your cards. Some cards have power, the 8 is a joker. Really great party game, I really love playing it with my friends. Simple, and you can talk around playing cards. Now, the boring thing to do will be to create a brand with it and market it and grossly overprice it and then slowly release slightly different versions over time just to make more money. The not boring thing to do would be to have superpowers. We invented this with my girl. We created some superpowers. Let me show you one. So this one is called the Gravedigger, and he can exchange the cards in his hand for as many last cards from the discard pile. So if there were a lot of good cards that were played, activate your power and you get them back. Let's see another one. Sonic is a power where you become the center of the attention and you play between the turns of everyone. So if you're 3, 4, 5 players, instead of playing one by one, the superpower Sonic makes you play every other turn. But you get also the Maluses and the attack cards from the other. Really fun powers, one of my favorite. And I'm showing you this because we are going to build this website with the Sanic framework. I am a big Quad fan, know it, but I wanted to give Sanic a shot. The framework, Python framework for web apps, which does things a bit differently. I'm going to show you all the tricks in Sanic, and at the end of the video we are going to see if the job was done. This is how you run a Sanic app. So you just call Sanic app. You can add the dev if you want it to be a development environment so that it reloads every time you save something. One of the main selling points of Sanic is that it is production ready. So you can remove the dev here and you don't have to put a web server gateway interface like UVcorn or Hypercorn in front of it. It is capable of standing on its own 2 feet, which is really convenient. You see also that you get really nice info screen where you have colors and you're going to be able to see all the events that are happening, their types. The logs are really cool. Before we see the code, let's take a look at the whole application. So let's say, for example, I go to the website on the left, which is called Datastar. It's Crazy 8 and Datastar, and you invite your friends to connect to the same address. You create a room for them. So you tap friends, and they all see the room. Then you tell your friends to click it to join you, and you can see a first difference. Here there is a reveal button because this window here created the room. So it's the admin of the game, and the others have get ready. And when the admin of the game makes sure that everybody, so you play this game on your phone, right? You have your phone to check your superpowers, then the admin clicks reveal, and everybody gets a random superpower from the available list of superpowers. Notice here it is in French, but it's it's not a problem because I have language options. For example, I can click on English here, go back to the room. The power, as you see, wasn't changed. It's still the same one, but it's now in English. And everybody can have its own language. So we can play between French and Americans, and everybody understand what this means. So you have the switcher, which can swap his hand with another players, and La Voyante, which makes everybody play with their cards revealed. Really powerful power. And the game, then you play the Crazy 8, you can reveal your power at any time in the game. I will try to record it live. This is not the point of this video because we are going to talk about code, but I'm going to put a gameplay video as soon as possible, and I'll put it in the description if I can, so come back to this video. The first thing I'd like to do here is show the file structure. So you see we have some static files on JavaScript. There's just Datastar images for the powers, obviously, some custom fonts, some custom CSS, not really a lot of stuff. This is all virtual environment stuff, a JSON file acting as the database, environment stuff, UI stuff. So there's just an application, no template, really no HTML, and if you take a look at the application, 200 lines. So you can build a multiplayer room with instant reveal and different languages in 200 lines of Python. This is the power of Datastar, obviously. Quite impressive. Let's take a look at how we are going to start the code, and we are going to use Sanic this time. You import the main module, main class called Sanic to build the app, and the different text responses that you want. You can have, you can return JSON, you can return file, you can return a lot of stuff, but we are just going to need HTML for this. You import the helpers from Datastar, and yes, Datastar SDK has helpers for Sanic. So once again, great shout out to Gaspacho King for his incredible work. You import the TinyDB to use the JSON file as a DB. We are going to use some custom imports, regular stuff, and this is how you initialize your app. Very important to note, declare your static folder. Want it to be considered by Sanic. Now let's declare our app. What can you do with Sanic? The answer is pretty much everything. So for example, you can declare stuff before the server starts. What I want to do is to make the Sanic aware of what is the database. I create it with TinyDB. I say, okay, this table is for powers, this table is for rooms, and then I add them to the app context. So any request handler can reference it at any point. I will also declare connections because in this video we are going to do CQRS, obviously. What can Sanic do? It can do on response, which is kind of like what after request. So you get with Sanic you get app on request, meaning a code that you want to run when you get a request, and on a response, which is code that you get to run after the response. Here we want to set up the user ID cookie, for example, so this needs to be attached in the response that we are going to send. When a user connects, if it doesn't have a user ID, we attach a user ID cookie to the response and we send it. Same for the localization. Localization, the user hasn't one, we say French by default. And if it's someone that we already know, we don't want to change the language, so perfect use case for a cookie. And let's start finally with our first request handler. So you get the same stuff that you get in Flask, meaning heavily based decorator handlers, asynchronous request obviously, and every request handler that you specify must indicate request as its argument. And then we import in HTML, so we can render some HTML, classic Datastar stuff. We are just going to paint the first picture to load the CSS, the JS and stuff, and then use the data load to get the main connection rolling. Now, this indexed CQRS connection is going to be an open SSE connection from which we are going to pipe down update. How do you do it? In Sanic, you use the Datastar response from the helper to get to understand that this request was made by Datastar, make sense of its headers and stuff. You grab back the user ID for the cookie from the cookies. In the connections that I had defined, we put some initial message into the queue. I'll go back on that later, but first let's see the handler. The idea here is that the connection will roll and roll and roll, and it will wait for any message in the user queue, and if it receives any message, trigger a new paint from the index view, and then send it with a fat morphone main with merge fragments. On this connection, on tab out or navigating to another part, delete it from the connections. Index view really simple, as you can imagine. We are just going to render some HTML based on the current data. Classic CQRS pattern, calling index view, we just get all the homes, we join them into little buttons with links to their place. We use main with an ID to help with the morph, and you see we put the regular stuff, join room and the list of room. For the localization, so stuff like that, we'll get back to it later. So for the publish subscribe system, as I said, we are going to use queues. Really simple to do. We declare a connection dictionary into the application context. We are going to use, for example, the key index for people who are waiting for index updates. So people on the home page are all going to be given a queue here. They are all going to be listening here to that queue. Because when they initiated the connections, we put a message for them into user. And using defodict, it's kind of handy to start putting messages in there. So I think your queue is not thread safe. You're better off using something like QSense if you want, but Sanic is crashing on me, so there is a bug here, but good time to show you Sanic error handler, all planned. Alright, problem fixed. I am doing this in developer mode, and because I saved the file accidentally it restarted the server, which forgot about the queues that it had created. In the context, it didn't crash, but problem fixed, and in the meantime I give you a little drawing to help you better understand what we are doing. So when a user connects to index, with Datastar we connect them to an SSE stream. They are waiting for an event to happen. For example, when they create a room, the server push events to everybody in the index, because a new room was added, so everybody looking at index should get a new view. The old one is outdated, and they do it by populating a queue with an event. I'm not even bothering putting some relevant stuff in the event. If you see, when I post to create some stuff, get back the room name, I'm not even validating anything, and get the user ID, I insert it in the database, name, creation, who's the admin, the players in the room, so only the creator at the moment, but we're going to change that when people join. And then for every user, so this is the CQRS part, for every user waiting for the latest view of the index, we are going to push them a little message. Hello, new room. I can put here blah blah gaga. Doesn't matter what I put. And for later, I will also create a connection with the name of the room, so that people in it can do exactly the same thing. This is CQRS, so when I issue a post to create with Datastar, I can just return an empty 204 response, and the new view will be because everybody is waiting for something to happen on index. And you see the level of control we have on the server, because we know everybody who is listening, connected to the stream, waiting on the server, we know what the behavior are, and if you wanted, we can push different message, different data, but through the queue for each one of them. But here we just want them to have the latest view with all the room names, so a simple get makes sure that the asynchronous code is waiting here. Really convenient. And yeah, I kind of solved the trick. We are going to do the same thing. I don't know if I saved or not. So, let me create a room called chat. And in the chat room, we are going to do exactly the main thing. So if you understood what we did into the index, just connect everyone to a stream and wait for updates to happen, you understand what happens in a room. When somebody creates a room, you create a connection that you are going to populate with even queues, and everybody log. This is how you get the updates. Everybody is waiting for something to happen. When I click new game, I will receive, I can show you, an empty response. This is really interesting actually. Let me reload it real quick. And can I have bigger stuff here? Yes, bigger stuff. So you see here that CQRS here is a fetch request, which is running. And this is where the data is coming from. You reveal, when I click reveal, 204, no content, but this CQRS request is long-lived and is piping down updates as they come. So everybody goes through this connection. You can hardcore compress it, you can close it. You can use other event handlers with other routes to put some modification and still pipe down everything through the same connection. So really, CQRS, all the things, and that's all there is to it. Alright, this is very important also for the location. Localization is maybe better. You could send a Datastar response and then modify the cookies in it, but this is how you do it with the Sanic SDK helpers. So you use Datastar respond to create an empty response. You can add a cookie to it, and then you call EOF or end of file, meaning that the stream has ended. So you get this convenience method here, and it's really useful because in 3 lines you can format a response, add some cookies, send it back, and you're done. Finally, the rooms. So one new thing here, we can have, just like in Flask or Quartz, some request parameters that you can pipe down to the request handler with the exact same notation. So room name, for example, here will be piped down here. And so when I click room friends, I get friends back. And you see that we are doing exactly the same thing. If it works, why change? For example, I could use it to, for example, separate, create a special CSS file, I don't know, but really just put another data on main. I want to pass the room name argument to the connection, I want it to be linked. Very easy, because I control the HTML generation, I can just stick it in here. And then this address is the creation of a CQRS stream. Same old stuff, use Datastar respond, because we are going to send them stuff. You can also use yield in the old-fashioned way, there's really no problem. You can declare event handler the same way that we did previous video with Quartz, but this is some nice stuff, being able to have a response object that can send, just call send and send stuff. Pretty nice stuff. We are doing some fairly common stuff. It's been 15 videos now, so if you have any doubt about it, it really looks like the first video, so go check it and work your way through here. But some database verification, creating the initial message in the connection. This is really important, because when you get the stream connected and user waiting, you want them to send the sub view. Don't want to wait for changes, so that they can have stuff. Whenever there is a new message, what I do is wait for a room view. Room view is also something that will create some HTML with the power, as you imagine. But also I can parameterize the HTML based on the request. That's really simple to do. I mean, I just have to send here true or false if the stream is the stream of the admin, and get a different view in the end. Let's double down on that. Let's check room view. So, room view, see, I can construct my HTML the way I want. If power is unknown, so at the beginning of the game, you want to have some stuff, cover image, and then you can just put the mega important admin button if admin, else just it's for regular players, just tell them to get ready, whatever. So yeah, and you can even you have the reveal route, very special route that only the admin can see that way. The other stuff, so I mean, just take a look at the database and you're going to be able to understand what's going on. We have all the powers in here. The fun is also discovering them, so go read them, but the best way to discover them is to play a game with someone. So you have the ID, the French name, the English name, French description, English description. Which description do I pick? It's really easy, because my request handler has the location set in the cookies, so I just pass it down to the HTML creation here. Right, so all the powers in here, in this table, and then for the rooms, you see friends, it's created when admin is this ID here, and you have power 1, power 2, chat, drunk, she missed. So as you can see, drunk and she missed. And we are not going to do event sourcing here, but when I click on new game, power and Sonic and font, see, I just, as you guessed, I just modify it in the database whenever the admin clicks on new game, and then I tell the players, hey, you got a new power, better check it out. And because they were waiting on a queue, they get the view as soon as possible. This is really simple, so yeah. Something that you might wonder with Sanic is how to create background tasks. So here, for example, I want background tasks to remove the old rooms so they don't clutter the stuff. So very basic asynchronous function to check that remove rooms created one day ago, and this is how you add them to your app in Sanic. Quite beautiful, quite beautiful. Alright, I show you the final route of this, but I don't even have to. I mean, you can guess it. So the admin of the game reveal button is just get a new power, load the room, get a new power for everyone, and then for everybody inside the room, the connections say, hi, get a new power. The database better check that. This is it. 200 lines, and you've got multiplayer, different roles, localization, stuff like that. Alright, it's time for more trivia. So how do I do, for example, this little effect? It's a shitty view transition from one screen to the other. I wanted it to have like a card reveal stuff, but I didn't animate it all the way through. Also, that was a notification on my part, so if you picked your phone. So the usual merge fragments and use view transition equals true. I can show it in the CSS. Trivia time. Let's look at the CSS. The colors are from the famous Crazy 8 copyrighted game that I don't even want to mention. Font face, if you're looking for a good pixelated font face, this is the one you want. Look how beautiful this is. This view transition, man, not really what I expected, but if you're interested, here is the code. Rotate and fade. Rotate on in Greek and fade. I don't really like view transitions, and I will probably replace it with animation at some point. Some buttons for the title of superpower here. Span is interesting here, so this is, for example, this power, you're supposed to hide it and reveal it when you want in the game, but for some other powers, not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one. Like the video. For example, this one, when you get to choose the card from the draw pile that you want, you can show it to everyone, because you're going to be checking the draw pile. So there's no reveal advantage, no good reason to keep it a secret, so I put a little badge here. See the little green badge. You can show it to everyone. And finally, this is not everything on localhost. It is live on the website Datastar, so you can go and play it. I'm gonna do a video to explain the rules, but basically pick your power, reveal it when you want. I just wanted to show you that this is not localhost development. You can go to crazy.leg.ovh and you have the working stuff. So I'm going to put hi YouTube, and people who are going to take advantage of the fact that I show the whole code and that I don't do any input validation yet, nor sanitization, but this is not a chat app. People go to 10secondchat.com instead. Please, please, please. It works. Alright. Have fun, but not too much fun. Go to leg.ovh to play the game. I'm going to do a video about the rules. I'm going to do a video about how I make my server, support the channel, and see you next time, everyone. See ya.